All right, good evening. It's BourbonBlog.com, your friend and mine, a friend to everyone who enjoys a good cigar. It's Cohiba Ambassador Sean Williams. Good evening, Sean. How's all in Atlanta, buddy?
Everything is good. Everything is good. Thanks as usual for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely,
Always
yes.
good.
Yeah, we had a great time at Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, man.
Rolling out.
Several months ago. Is that crazy time?
I know.
Wow. Yeah.
Rolling out that Riviera.
Host.
And people have been loving the Riviera, haven't they?
Oh God, it's been doing very, very well. And it's weird. We had sort of a crowded sequence of releases from Serie M to Spectre to Riviera, and they were all pretty close within a couple months, 6 weeks or a couple months of each other. So it was a lot of noise. I was just kind of worried. Spectre and Serie M are special releases, so they're going to always be fine. But releasing Riviera right after having released two very popular special release cigars, I just kind of wondered if it's going to sort of get lost in the chatter. But it's come out of the gate strong, and it's doing very well. So I'm excited.
Yeah, there was a lot happening back to back as you all released several. The Spectre, the Serie M, and of course, we were thrilled to be the first event at Kentucky Derby, and really the first event ever when we did it at Kentucky Derby Week to feature Riviera. It's a great stick. The one we're talking about tonight is also an incredible creation of yours, the Serie M, and it's in a new size, the Prominente.
Prominente, yes. Classic Cuban size, 7x52. And this comes on the heels of us releasing the smaller of the three sizes that we've done last year, which is a Corona Border, which is a 6 1/4 by 46. So we wanted to maybe give a little bit more cigar, just to be blunt about it. First release was a classic Toro. Last year again was a Corona Gorda, which is a slightly smaller platform. So we want to do just sort of a bigger expression this year, and also just enjoy how the cigar just changes up in different vitolas. It's very, very interesting, and I'm always just pleasantly surprised at how cigars differ from size to size. Same tobacco, same blend, but the size makes a big difference.
So it's the very same size, or same blend, the different size, and it still has a lot of that same DNA the others have had. But
yeah.
But what do you get different on this? How does it echo?
This one smokes a little creamier to me. The Corona Border gave you a little bit of creaminess, but it was a little bit bolder blend, a little bit more spiced forward, and that's to be expected with a smaller ring gauge. You get more of the Corojo wrapper that really influences the blend a little bit more than it does in a 52 ring gauge, especially at 7 inches. So it elongates the smoke, so that's going to smooth it out a little bit. And just with the bigger ring gauge, it just smokes a little bit creamier, a little bit sweeter, but still has that nice richness that I really like.
Absolutely. One of the things I love is that creaminess. It's kind of a nice between an almond and almost a hazelnut, sort of a cream against some darker earth, some chocolate. I mean, this has always been one of my favorite rare releases you guys have done.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And again, the only Cohiba that has ever been made in the USA.
Yes. With our great family, as I like to say. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have collaborated with the good people at Titan Browns now for 14 years almost. So it was really again just really cool to be able to go back to a place where I started early on as a cigar maker and bring such a project such as Serie in there, with such an esteemed brand as Cohiba. And and we have an incredible team on this side of the house. So to work with them there, just been a lot of fun. And and we're looking forward to what the future is going to hold as far as trying different expressions and things of that sort. But it's been a lot of fun. Yeah,
absolutely. And for those that don't know about El Titan de Bronze, you were there for a while. Tell us a little bit about your history there and about the factory itself.
Well, the factory is third generation at this point. Cuban legacy family. Started back on Calle Ocho in Little Havana, right at 8th and 11th. in the 80s. So I don't,
Right.
30 something years ago for sure. As just a small, super boutique cigar factory. Very, very small hands-on production. If you walk in, everything is happening right in front of you. You see all the rollers there, and I say all the rollers. It's maybe 9 to 12 rollers at a time. So very, very small batch production. I mean, you don't get any more artisan than that. And they're all level 9 rollers, and they roll from start to finish, as opposed to how we typically roll in the larger sort of versions of cigar production, where you have someone who does the bunching, and then someone else rolls the cigar as far as putting on the wrapper. So they roll in pairs, as you call it. Well, old school way is start to finish. One person bunches the cigars, and then that person will put the cigars in the mold overnight. Then the next day they come, and that same person puts the wrappers on the cigar. So it's just a very, there's a whole lot more accountability that way, right? Because one person is controlling the process from start to finish. Then there's also just a whole lot more investment that way as well. So it's just a very, just more tedious hands-on process. And the result is just, just an exquisite experience when you smoke the cigars.
And you don't see, I mean, again, to see it done from beginning to end with one roller, you don't see that very often anymore. So that's correct.
Well, I'm not gonna say you don't see it very often anymore, but it's just not the common way to roll cigars now. Most cigars that you and I would walk into a humidor, grab off the shelf. I mean, the vast majority, exponentially so, the vast majority are rolled in pairs. So it's not a very common thing anymore.
Right. And again, it's the Cohiba Serie M for 2023. Several people I see. I see our good friend Innocent McGuire. We always enjoy his podcast, saying hello to us. Thanks. I know Innocent had me on not too long ago on his show, so thanks. Innocent.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, a lot of good people in the cigar world watching. Tell us down below what you're smoking or even sipping. We have several. I'm going to show you that I'm going to be pairing this against. But what's always fun with Sean and I, if we're in the same place, we're obviously going to be sipping and smoking the same thing.
So quick question: is the sound working? I saw a few people commenting early on. Is there no sound? Is the sound working?
It is working. Yeah, I think there was maybe somebody that it wasn't working for, but it seems to be working.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because this is some good stuff. We want to make sure they
right.
They not only see the smoke, but they hear it too.
Speaking of good stuff, man, I'm getting thirsty here. Let me.
So we always like.
What are you starting with?
Well, Sean, you and I both have the same single barrel from Peerless. We were both big fans of it. Sean and I went to along with your team. We went over to Jefferson's. We went to Peerless. We went several great places during
Old Forester, which was a very interesting experience, man. I mean, when you talk about small batch artisan, boutique, whatever term you want to use, Peerless just amplifies that, right? But then you talk about one of the oldest and most storied distilleries in the history of bourbon with Old Forester. They were able to sort of take all of the big sort of overriding moving parts and condense them into a really cool experience right downtown. So it's just really cool, man. Just kind of see the different activities that you get and the different experiences you get from distillery to distillery. No two are the same, and I love that, man. So
no, I do too, man. It's true. The Old Forester, the Woodford, so many good ones that you were able to experience. And again, as we did Peerless, we tried some of their new releases, their new bourbon. They even have a high rye bourbon, which you and I tried, which has beautiful, which I think the espresso note against this cigar would do quite nicely. But think about a deep, high proof bourbon. This one's 114.3.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but it doesn't drink that hot.
No,
it doesn't drink that hot.
It doesn't. Really high proof, but very bold. The tasting notes they get on this are candied lemon and also some dry oak, but it's called the Saloon Series. It's one of their single barrels. What did you like best when you were trying several? What did you like best about this bourbon?
And I wouldn't have I don't pretend to be. Cheers, by the way.
Yeah, cheers, man. Cheers. Here we go. Clink.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very nice.
I don't pretend to be a bourbon aficionado, if there's such a thing. So I'm not as astute as you are in picking out all the notes. I did like that it was more fruit forward, very bright,
Beautiful fruit.
and they sort of express that in the way of candied lemon, dry oak. Honestly, I don't know if I pick up as much citrusy notes as maybe this implies, but the candy part, I guess, will sort of offset some of the citrusy notes you would get from lemon. But it was just very very sweet, but a fruity sweet, very bright, rich, not very viscous, but it just has a great mouthfeel to it. And it works through the sort of olfactory as you're sipping. You still smell it, like it's just very,
right.
It's very bold.
It's
this stuff is high proof, but it just doesn't drink high proof. It's just it's really cool.
Well, Sean, I know you say you don't want to say you know everything about bourbon, but look, you're great with flavor. Those notes you gave were perfect. A lot of viscousness. It has a lot of depth. The fruit. I mean, everything you said is spot on. I think that this cigar really calls for something that is medium to full bodied in a sip, as well as it is a medium to full bodied smoke. The fruit's coming up there. It's really lifting up some of that earth. I get some nice cedar on this. Like I said, I got hazelnut on this cigar.
That's why it's one of the reasons. I do get the sort of they say oak sort of woodsy note with that, and this cigar is of the cigars that we have. Yeah. This one is singularly maybe the most cedary. So yes. I wanted to kind of pair those two together, and the cigar is bold enough so the proof wouldn't be an issue with overpowering the profile or anything. So I figured these would. And this is actually the first time I think I've had these paired together actually.
Yeah, I love this. This is a perfect pairing, and again, great palate you have, Sean, and you're creating such incredible cigars. This one in particular, I think those cedar notes, that wood note, does call for a good aged American whiskey bourbon, even a rye. What's bringing about the cedar notes? Where do we get those from on this smoke?
Really, this wrapper, it's a Nicaraguan Corojo wrapper, which historically, Corojo wrapper, as popularized here in the U.S., were grown in Honduras, which is going to be a little bit more earthier and deep. But grown in Nicaragua, it just sort of mellows it out a little bit. It's a little bit richer, a little bit sweeter, and that's really where a lot of that comes from. And it doesn't hurt that the cigars rest under a cedar sheet, right? That doesn't hurt. So
the cigars actually rest
as you saw from the box.
In the box, we can grab the box and show it. Yeah, I think that's so important. Yeah. And to me, that brings about, why do they call it, this particular bourbon, the Saloon series? And again, this is a limited edition.
Speak to that. What is the name Saloon? What is
Saloon? So I think why they came up with this, and again, they're so great. The whole team, Caleb and John, you've met Cordell, all the gang there at Peerless, Corky. They're creating these single barrels. They find the single barrel, they watch it, they taste it over the course of several years. I think this one might be 5 or 6 years old, and they say this is something that's unique enough. We want to release it as a single barrel. At our distillery, they do some partnerships with restaurants, bars. You can come in and pick a single barrel. But this one, they have different names. Some have been like toasted creme brulee, and there's a rye that I had recently that was called lemon crisp. But this one, I think, is supposed to give you the notes of like an old saloon. As you walk in a saloon, It's something that's old wood, and this cigar kind of gives me that old saloon feel as well. A little bit.
I have to take your word for it. I've never been to a saloon, at least not in actuality.
In my mind, that's where I've
been. Well, as my college coach would put it, like we would go. We had this place off campus called the Renaissance, and it was the nightclub, the only nightclub, in Grambling, Louisiana. So that's obviously where everybody would end up, good, bad, or otherwise. That's kind of where you went. And Coach Rob always referred to it as the saloon. Hell, boy, you're out at the saloon last night. So if you let him tell it, I actually have been to a saloon, but not in actual terms. So.
Not in actual times. It reminds me of what it might have been. I've been to plenty of, like, I bet, modern day saloons, but again, great pairing. It comes in so nicely with that nice proof, but again, drinks so much lower. Serie M, you think if people are watching this and they're saying, hey, or listening to it and they're saying, we want to get one of these Serie M, you think they can still find these, right?
Oh yeah, they should. We did a few thousand boxes as usual. And by the way, if you want to find some, I know who has some in pretty good steed right now, and that's my guy Jeff at Riverside Cigars.
Jeff at Rivers, okay, yeah, he has some.
That's my guy. So we do. It's a standing appointment every year for the Derby to do an event. So when we have special release stuff, he gets it in spades. So he has a good bit. I think he was in his thread here. So if anybody is interested in picking up a few of these, we only put out 4,000 boxes this year, and Jeff has a good number of them. Well, I don't know. That's a month ago, so he may, but he certainly got a little bit more than your normal retailer would have gotten, based on the commitment to the Derby. So.
He got a little more maybe than some. So go see Jeff at Riverside. We had a great time.
He ships, so just reach out to him.
And he ships. I'll put the website address up in just a moment. But we had a wonderful event there at Riverside, and I was glad I could be there for you, with both you and Jeff. And
dude, I don't know how you did it though, man. You must have had 4 stops that day. That was bananas, man. Yeah.
Well, it was a lot of fun. I wanted to make sure I saw you guys. There it is. RiversideCigars.com
there you go.
Is the place to go. Such a special place. And really, if you're in the Louisville area, it's going to be your closest cigar lounge, just right across the river there in Indiana.
Yeah. People see Indiana, but it's literally, we were staying in the Marriott Courtyard right downtown, on Distillers Row. What is it called?
Yeah, that's right.
Distillers Row. So I mean, it's literally 7 minutes from there, like just right across the bridge. You can actually walk across the bridge now, which is awesome. So
yeah,
but you can. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna pay. What else do you have? I love this bourbon. I'm gonna try pairing something else with it just to see what other notes it brings out. What else do you have there, Sean? If you have anything, if you don't, I'll just virtually.
No, I have. I just see what I. You know what? Maybe man, if I'd known that, I wouldn't have started at 113 proof or something.
Well, we like to start it out right. That's the way to do it.
So what do you think about the? I'm thinking about the Old Forester.
Yes.
I tell you what, I've only had one sip of since I brought it back.
Ooh, what was it?
The Jefferson's, the red wine, the Cabernet cask with is it Pritchard? What's the
the Pritchard Hill. You got some of the Pritchard Hill.
Maybe I'll do that next.
Oh, I think that's perfect because I'm going to do a finished whiskey as well.
All right. Well, I'm going to stop my camera so you guys don't watch me moving around, and I'm going to grab that. Be right back. All
right, he's going to grab it, and I'll see. I'll bring him back up here in just a moment. I'll be watching for him. But so many great people. Again, I'm going to show you what we've been trying. We've been trying the Peerless single barrel bourbon. Again, even if you can't find a single barrel, get their original bourbon, their original rye called the Small Batch. I also just showed you, and here I am just looking for what I just had, but it was the high rye bourbon. Oh, here it is. It's behind the cigar box. I was going to hold the cigar box up as well. The high rye bourbon has a lot of great notes. And Sean is back with his bourbon. What'd you find there? Oh, I love the Pritchard Hill. Yeah. We had a great time.
I literally only had one taste of this since I've been back. And I loved it at the distillery. That's why I bought the bottle, obviously.
So this, they're using one of the premier Napa Cabernet red wines, used barrel from Chapelet Estate, Pritchard Hill. They're finishing it in this barrel to really bring about some wonderful elevated notes of the Jefferson's bourbon. And this one I do think is such a great pairing for a cigar, but also think about cheeses. If you love red wine and cheese and also some whiskey notes, this one's perfect for that too. It is great. Cheers, Sean.
Cheers.
Yeah. Now I'm sipping similarly a bourbon finished in another kind of cask, and not too many distilleries have done this. It is Brazilian Amburana wood. It's called RD1. They have a wonderful tasting room in Lexington, Kentucky, and they've just broken ground on a distillery they're partnering with in Beaver Dam, Kentucky, not too far away from me. Wow. This one is a well-aged 5-year-old plus bourbon finished in Amburana. Now, what is Amburana? It is it ages rum, it ages some cachaça, very tropical, a lot of nice citrus and fruit notes. There's so much, I would say, think about pineapple, maybe even some nutty flavors that come off of this. Just really beautiful, bright, very summer, spring oriented.
That's what I think when I think about Brazil, though I have not been. So yeah.
This is beautiful. This is getting a lot of that. I'm sure the red wine, the sweetness is really matching nicely with the creaminess.
I'd like to try this with the Macazar, actually.
You think that would do nicely?
Yeah, too? The wrapper on the Macazar spends a little bit of time in red wine barrels, so I'd like to see how that pairs with this. That's next time. Yeah.
All right. So, hey, look who's tuning in, Jeff. I have plenty. He's telling us. Jeff's watching. Thanks, Jeff, for watching.
My man.
Yeah, what's happening, Jeff? And looks like Mr. Deliberate's having a Dalmar Cigar Reserve. I love the cigar reserve. Yeah. From Dalmar is beautiful. Thanks, Irene, for watching. John, Innocent, and by the way, Innocent does such a great podcast.
I played football at Grambling, defensive end.
Yeah. So you from your football days, you still follow football pretty closely?
Yeah. I mean, I follow Grambling and I follow LSU, and I follow the big college games. There's still so many from a college football standpoint to keep up with. I just I don't get to see much of it on television. A lot of what I do means I'm traveling back and forth somewhere. But yeah, I mean, I keep up with it. Certainly pro football I keep up with. Yeah.
Right. No, thanks for the question. And any questions at all for Sean or about this cigar or any of the Cohiba cigars, ask away. The Spectre, there may still be some of those out there as well.
Boy, that'd be
might be a little tougher.
There's an Spectre available.
Might be a little tougher.
There are. I'd recommend snapping one or two up. I would imagine if a retailer has them now, they have them because they want to sell them as a box, as an entire unit, as opposed to selling individual cigars.
Individual ones, correct? Yeah. So, how was that? How was the Spectre received? What made it a little different this year? Were there a few differences?
Yeah, this year, I mean, we had some of the consistent elements as far as specifically the La Entrada tobacco, which we've had some really good success with that. La Entrada de Copel, which is our farms in Honduras on the Guatemalan border where we grow as a proprietary leaf. We also have sherry barrel aged Esteli Nicaragua 09 and 2011. So those are the sort of mainstay components. Piloto Cabana, of course, is in there. But the big thing, the big sort of unicorn piece of it this year was the 08 vintage Brazilian Arapiraca wrapper. So it's a very it's hard for me to decide, man. Like, what's my favorite? Is this the fourth? It's the fourth that we've done.
Fourth Spectre.
Yes, the fourth Spectre. And I struggle to think of what my favorite. I mean, 2019 still stands out for me. The first one is always the sort of special to you,
right?
But this one it's right up there, man. It just honestly, I wasn't as warm and fuzzy about doing a cigar of that caliber and that price point, obviously, with a Brazilian wrapper. But I mean, it was so well aged, and it was, again, one of the things that we have that nobody else had, so it made sense in that regard. But the cigar really turned out well. The team down in the DR did an amazing job. They take a lot of pride in that project, so it's always fun to do. It's a pain in the ass,
right?
But everything about it is a pain in the ass. Like, because every year we're looking for tobacco that we won't have any more of, and so based on that, we never know what the quantity is going to be that we can make, because it's based on the availability of the tobacco.
Right.
That's a bear enough. which obviously I'm hands-on with that, but I'm also hands-on from a recommendation standpoint or approval standpoint or whatever you want to call it as it relates to the packaging. And the packaging is, we've kind of boxed ourselves in, no pun intended, with the packaging every year. We won packaging of the year. So now it's a race against ourselves every year to kind of figure out how we can make the packaging new and engaging and different. And every year we manage to do it, but boy, that's the hardest part. Thank God we have an agency that helps with that, but still, we have to decide on something. And then if we decide on it, is it executable? And the packaging we have this year is not the packaging that we started with. A few years ago, we were planning for this, and we were going to sort of cryptex sort of cylindrical deal that was going to have these pieces that moved, and in theory it looked great, and the sketches looked great, but when they made the prototype, man, it was the size of a Volkswagen. So it's like this isn't going to work. So we spent a lot of time, a lot of money developing something that we never used. So we're always working on alternatives to whatever the main concept is, and there's been a number of occasions where we actually have had to use the alternative. But it's a pretty involved task. It never stops. Just to put out a few hundred boxes of a cigar, it was a project that never stops. But
it's only a few hundred boxes, so that's why it becomes so difficult.
Yeah. I mean, one year we did 500, this year I think we did close to 6. So it's every year it's different. Just again, it's based on the availability of whatever the special tobacco we have. So.
Right. Well, you do such a great job with all these, and so much. We really love the Cohiba Serie M. You may be able to, we know we can from Jeff, and I'll again put Jeff's website up there. Thanks for watching tonight, Jeff. And again, if any of you all have tried this or any of the Cohiba line you want to share, feel free to tell us your thoughts, your tasting notes. I'm glad to see so many fellow cigar fans watching.
Jeff said, "Good luck finding Spectre." All right. Well,
yeah.
If he's saying that, then it means it can't be got. Because if it could be gotten, he'd have it.
It may be tough.
So, Innocent McGuire, what got me into blending cigars? I did not. When I got into this, I didn't think I'd be, a cigar maker. I started as a. And I'm sure. I'm sorry if people have heard this story before.
No, it's a great story. Please.
I'll do the cliff notes. So I just sort of got into this just as a passionate cigar lover, like most people are, and started a cigar social group here in Atlanta, which got me interested in doing a private label cigar for events that I would host. And made a few connections and talked to a few people. Ended up hopping on a plane to go to Nicaragua in January of 2006. Landed at the Placencia factory, and that's where I first started. I guess my process of learning how to make cigars. And I didn't know anything about cigars. I was a cigar lover, and I thought I knew cigars, but it took me 30 minutes in that factory to realize I didn't know shit about cigars, really. But that motivated me to learn. So I spent a week there with Avelio, rest his soul, who was the master blender at the time at the Placencia factory, and just going through the process with him, working on my initial blends. And as you do that, you want to get more and more hands-on. So instead of being just sort of instructive and saying, hey, I want a cigar that has this profile or that profile, and having someone across the table roll it up, eventually, you start saying, you get more deliberative in the leaf. Okay, well, let's do a Condego. Let's do, because you figure out what leaves that you like. So you start instructing that way. Then as time goes on, you really want to have more control. So eventually it's like, okay, I want to make it myself. So I mean, fast forward, I literally roll cigars, in my house here. But it's just one of those things where, I would think anybody, if they're passionate about something, they want to learn it as in depth as possible, and really appreciate all the nuances and all the intricacies of it. So just over time, as I got deeper into it, it just it's something that just grew. I mean, we're 17 years later now, and that's what it is. So I didn't start out that way. It just I just kind of chased that rabbit, So yeah.
Just kept on chasing the rabbit, and now here you are, 17 years later, making some of the very best in the world. And hats off to you, man. It's been a great great time to watch you continue to grow all these lines, and especially with another one that is going to be tough to get. I don't know if it's going to be what's tougher to get, a bottle of Weller or a Weller cigar. There'll be another one of those next year too, won't there?
I'm thinking the Weller cigars maybe easier. I don't know, man. It depends. So this year again, we're doing the binder aged in the Weller 12-year barrel. So I think from a market standpoint, the Weller 12-year may be a little bit easier to get. I'm not sure. It just
might be, depending upon if you know Sean or if you're who you know in the bourbon world. Maybe if you know
both.
Know
me. Listen, just so you guys out there understand, it's not smoke and mirrors with Sazerac and
with any of this. That's right. No, it's true.
It's not like they don't have bottles to give. We make a cigar with them, and
sure, I understand. Yeah.
Partner. But I get no extra vig. Like it's
might point you in the right direction, is what I mean.
Yeah, and most maybe I can buy an extra bottle when I'm there, but yeah, they don't send me any goodies or
those barrels are rare too.
Yeah, I mean it was the first year we did the Weller, we didn't have the barrels.
That's right.
And that was a couple of factors at play. They wanted the cigar to come out at a certain time, and it wasn't enough runway to get barrels and get the cigar released by the time frame that they wanted. So we did our best with putting together the cigar that paired with the sort of weeded bourbon expressions that they put out, and the cigar did very well. But having the foresight that we're going to be doing this, in the years to come, we started working with them to make sure that we have ready access to barrels, which we did for the second release, obviously, and we do for this release. Now, the trick is for 2024, we're looking for another expression of theirs to use the barrel. So that's going to be more barrels. So, yeah, man. So, they're a great partner to work with. But I was really excited when we started talks with them about making a cigar, because I'm thinking, great, I'll be able to get Weller. Nope. Nope. I have to jump into the knife fight like everybody else to get Weller. Yeah.
I understand how that is. And both of the expressions thus far, the two that have been out, I've loved. I'm sure you have something, and maybe even a little, though you can't tell us, I understand, something a little different planned for next year, right?
Yeah. Unlike Serie is the only special release that we do that keeps the same blend. And I'll give you a little hint. That's actually changing. We've done 3 years with this blend, and we're going to keep some of the major components because we don't want to move away from this beautiful wrapper. But we're going to do a few things under the hood, and I got some a special little twist I'm working on for next year that I think is going to. And I say this, I'm sort of reticent to say it because it's not done yet. I mean, we have the blends aging out, but if they age out like I hope, then we're really going to be excited about what we do next year. So, but I can tell you this for sure: the blend is going to be a little bit different next year. Just to kind of keep stretching out and keep trying things and not getting too complacent.
It keeps the cigar enthusiasts, all enthusiasts, very interested. Just like with bourbon, having something a little different done every year, a little different release. We're going to keep on coming back for more. I'm loving this. This continues to open up so nicely. That beautiful cedar, those wonderful, just beautiful characteristics.
That's the beauty of a cigar this size. Having a 7-inch cigar versus 6-inch cigar, you're going to get just a little bit more change up. Just a little bit more character. And it just allows you to just really enjoy the nuances a little bit better.
That creaminess comes out nicely. I didn't have any, and I do have some downstairs, some Jefferson's, Pritchard Hill, and we love what Trey Zoller and the whole team do there. But I did have, not too far away, I wouldn't say similar, but it's along the same lines, a American whiskey from our friends at Savage and Cook that is finished in used Napa Cab barrels. So I'm trying it to get similar elements to what you're getting. This is the Savage and Cook from Dave Finney's distillery there in Mare Island. I was just there a few months ago, and this is really beautiful as well. With those,
I haven't tried this stuff, man. You gotta turn me on to some of it.
I'm going to make sure you get some. I'm going to make sure you get to try it real soon. But man, it's so good seeing you tonight. I know that most all of our viewers usually come from the United States of America, but we have some international viewers. You're going to be doing some international travels coming up. Yeah.
So I head out Sunday, and I'll be in Europe for about 3.5 weeks, and I have 6 countries that we're going to touch over there. I'm not sure I have these in order, but it'll be Spain, the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, the UK, and France. And we have a sister equity in Europe that we have. It's called Silencio, which obviously Silencio here is my signature with it. You can't.
Right. So good.
Thanks. So that's the namesake that we have internationally. And yeah, it's my second tour over there. And we're releasing our third expression, the Connecticut, which here we know is the Connecticut. Over there it's called Los Rios. And yeah, man. So just doing what I do here over there, man. So it's fun. It's a pretty hardy pace, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, we actually do have a viewer from the UK join us, Mr. Deliberate. Mr. Deliberate is from the UK, so Mr. Deliberate.
Hey.
I'm not sure if Mr. Deliberate, where in the UK are you? Please tell us, Kim.
I'm going to be in Windsor. There's a shop in Windsor, just near Windsor Castle, actually. I'll be there on the 30th, so I don't know where you are.
He's saying when and where, so it'll catch up to him, and he'll tell us where.
Peter.
So Peter, nice to see Peter as well.
Mi hermano.
Yeah. He's in Barcelona.
Yes, he is actually our local sales manager there, and so he's tasked with the unenviable job of babysitting you while I'm in Barcelona. So I look forward to seeing him. It's my guy.
Oh, Peter, that'll be great. And this is going to be the launch of the Los Rios.
Yes, Los Rios, which
happening
is
in the next few weeks.
Yes.
Which is as we know here in the U.S. It's the Connecticut.
Yeah.
It's such a wonderful expression as well. It's so interesting. I mentioned that we have, and I know we do have international viewers, but I'm so glad I said that because we have two, the UK and the Spain. Anyone else? Tell us where you're watching from down below. Mr. Deliberate says north, but if you're coming further than me, so I have no excuses. So maybe Mr. Deliberate.
I would love to see you there. And I'm not looking at the name of the shop, but there's not many cigar shops. There's a cigar shop in Windsor, right near Windsor Castle. I'm sure you're probably familiar with it. If you haven't been, hopefully you've heard of it. So I'll be there on the evening of June 30th.
You look for the castle.
My 53rd birthday. I'll celebrate my 53rd birthday with the good people at this cigar shop in Windsor, UK. So
happy early birthday. What day is your birthday again?
June 30th. Yeah,
June 30th. Go wish him a happy birthday if you're near Windsor. Look for the castle, the cigar, and look for. You can't miss any of these. Sean, the castle, or the cigar. See them all.
Oh, you probably missed me next to the castle, but yeah. Nicaragua. Hey man, I'm overdue, Jeff.
Jeff is in Nicaragua right now. Yeah,
I'm overdue. Yeah.
We may have more international viewers tonight than we have American viewers. Could be. I love this. Stan saying hello too.
Stan, the man, my guy from the Bay Area, man. What's going on? How you doing out there? Yeah, San Francisco. Yeah.
So many good people watching tonight. Again, Cohiba Serie M. We started with the Peerless bourbon, which was a limited edition single barrel. But I would say even with the original bourbon, yes, so delicious. Even with the original bourbon, it's so good.
Yes.
And then we went to the Jefferson's Reserve, Pritchard
yes,
Hill.
I did. You went to the Savage and Cook.
And I did the Savage.
No, you went to the RD.
And I did a little RD one too. The Brazilian Ambarano. This wonderful distillery and producer is going to be in more and more states. So be watching for them. They have a maple finish. They have a French oak finish. They're all just delicious. And they have this one. And they have an original bourbon, which is their own mash bill, their own creation. They didn't source it. They actually had their hands on the process from beginning to end at Green River Distillery. And then those barrels were taken and aged elsewhere. That one's in Owensboro, not too far from me. And they're making great bourbon too, but that's what Jacob.
That's a common process, isn't it?
Well, what they did was they worked with Jacob, from what I understand on this one. He's the master distiller. He was the master distiller there. He's now starting his own distillery in Beaver Dam. But yes, there are some distilleries that do contract distilling, and they do some for some folks, but their original weeded bourbon, Green River, is divine, and so is their bourbon. So if you do see Green River, it will be in many more states coming. They're laying down a lot of it. We were just there last week. It was really nice to see.
Beautiful. So how's the category doing overall? I mean, it's been on a tear for, man, it seems like the last 10 years or so. I mean, is it starting to crest a bit, or I mean, is it still pretty brisk out there as far as adding new bourbon lovers to the category. I mean, they're still building these distilleries, they're still launching new spirits. I assume that the market is there and accepting it, right?
Growing so much. Yeah, thanks for asking that. So many new bourbon whiskey enthusiasts coming aboard. That's why we love to continue to engage with them through many of the folks that are watching tonight. We always appreciate you all watching these. And rye as well, just really growing so much. Massive growth also in tequila and mezcal, which I enjoy with a wonderful cigar as well. And I don't see any end in sight. I think it just keep growing. And we know that because they're adding more and more warehouses like Green River is. They're standing a new warehouse. Peerless has added not too long ago another warehouse. Not too far
I saw
from
that. Yeah. At least I haven't seen it, but I saw that the construction, the pictures of it and stuff. So that's crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, I know it's a busy week for you, getting ready to head out, but I appreciate you taking some time talking with us tonight about the Cohiba Serie M, the only Cohiba made in the USA, made at El Titan de Bronze in Miami's Little Havana district, right?
Yes.
So well made, so delicious. All these were good, but there's probably, I'm sure, so many bourbons as long as it's
and even if it's not bourbon, like you just mentioned, a few other spirit categories that people are really into. So it's just kind of find your space, man. Find your thing. There's no right or wrong way. Just whatever just sort of just rhymes with your palate. It's cool, Yeah.
Absolutely. Sean, my friend, always good seeing you, and we'll be seeing you real soon. Thanks for joining us, as always, on BourbonBlog, and happy travels to you.
Thank you, my man. See you soon. Cheers.
Cheers, Sean. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Like, share it, and we'll see you soon.